Hi, I'm Heather Ailing, or Mrs. Ailing, as my kids call me, and this is my lesson plan for my second first graders um for the book Blizzard by John Rocco. Um so when my children come into the library, they hold a bubble in their mouth until they get to the purple stairs. They sit on the first stair of the floor, and then we have a moment of silence as like a meditation as a transition. So what will happen is we'll talk. I'll have the children close their eyes, and sit quietly while I talk to them about what the day is going to be like. So in this case, I would say, okay, students, today we're going to be talking about the word blizzard. And what does that mean? We'll be looking at the main idea of a book, which is what the author is trying to tell us. It can be something as simple as a moral of the story, like the Three Little Pigs, um, or it could be something more complex. And in this book today, there's more than one main idea, so there's more than one right answer. So then I would have the children open their eyes, and I always present to my first graders, kindergartners, pre-K, or second, first, kindergarten, pre-K, the book cover. And so here's the book cover, Blizzard. And I will say, especially in this case, okay, based on what the cover of the book looks like, what does the word blizzard mean? Don't mind my dog. Um, Lots of times, one of my favorite responses from children has been, it means a little kid who's really excited and joyous and his hands are up in the air. But usually they'll get that it means a lot of snow or a storm. So I'll go, that's right. What a blizzard is and what this book is about the author, the person who writes the words, John Rocco, had an experience where he lived through a blizzard in 1978 and he wrote a book about it. So this isn't a nonfiction book, an all the way true story, because we use all the way true and then part of the way true for historical fiction and nonfiction. Um, this is a historical fiction, so it's part of the way true. I lived through a blizzard in 1993. And I like this book so much because it reminds me when I read it about what I went through as a little kid. And my favorite story from my blizzard was when I was very scared of all the snow. And my daddy decided to break me of that fear. And I was standing on the front porch in all my snow gear, and I was 7 years old. And he took me by the scruff of my pants and he threw me into the front yard. And I landed in all the snow, and it was a lot of fun, except I couldn't get out because there was so much snow. It was like being in quicksand. I couldn't move. And 2 months before the blizzard, it was March of 1993, we had gotten a puppy dog named Buddy. And Buddy was 2 or 3 years old. And he was a Sheltie, which means he looked just like the dog Lassie. And at this point, I would pull up a picture of my Buddy dog. And Buddy Dog, we came to find out, loved to dig holes in the snow. And one of the pictures in this book, sorry, let me find it real quick, shows a little boy and his dog digging the holes in the snow. And when I first read this book, I said, oh, that's just like me and Buddy Dog. And then I started to see more similarities. Like towards the ends of our blizzard, we started to run out of food. We ran out of milk and eggs and bread, and we still had lots of food to eat in the house. But all of the things that were favorites or stuff that I was used to having in the house were gone. So at this point, I always ask the children to think about what I've told them, think about what the pictures are telling them that I've shown them, and I ask them to please turn and talk to their partner. So they do that for about a minute or two, and then we share out. So I always tell my children before we turn and talk, I always say, make sure you're being a listener as well as a teller, because I'm going to call on anyone, and I have a jar with all of my children's names for each of my classes on popsicle sticks, and I just draw from the jar to get to kind of cold call. And I said, always make sure you're going to be a listener as well as a teller, because I asked my children not to tell me their story. I asked them to tell me their partner's stories. And then we flip. So like in this case, I would pull one and it would be like Jakim can you please tell me what Celeste told you? And then Celeste will tell me what Joachim told her. And they'll sometimes they correct each other, which is great. So then we would read the story. And we always talk about the front being the cover, front cover, back cover, spine. These are the pages inside, and then the title page of the book. And how the title page is like our face. The title page kind of reveals to us what the story is going to be about. So then I read the story through. It's a very short story. It's got great pictures. And one of the big things in this story is it consistently gives kids backup about how tall the snow got. And as I read the story, I say to them, you know, look at how big a stop sign is. A stop sign's about as big as me, and I'll stand up. And I'll say, so the snow would be up to my chin, you know, and think about where the snow would be for you. Or in this part of the story, they can't go out the front door. They have to go out the window. And I talk about, oh, what if you lived on top of, you know, what if you lived in an apartment building? Because a lot of my children are from the urban parts of Syracuse. You know, what would that mean? And we talk about, there's a great scene where the dad is trying to dig the dad's trying to dig out into the driveway, and look at how tall the snow is. He can rest his arms on top of it, and look at how close the boy is to the snow. So we talk a lot about in this book, we focus on, you know, what feelings would you have if there was that much snow. And the family starts to run out of essentials, milk, bread and eggs, and the boy decides to go to the store. And along the way, he stops at neighbors' houses, and he asks them what they need. So not only is he going on this journey, and this is a great book because it has these open up double pages for a map, which is also great for my first and second graders because they study maps intensively. About how brave this boy is. You know, he put on the tennis rackets. He made the tennis rackets into snowshoes. And how he went out and he spent the whole day. He left early in the morning and didn't get back until night. So he could get the stuff for not only his family, but along the way he stopped and he's a good Samaritan, and he gets things for his neighbors and the people in his community. And he kind of has fun on his adventure. And when he comes back, he gets to regale his family with his adventure while they drink hot cocoa near the fire. Now, it's not a life or death situation. They don't have to have these things, but his family's running out of food. They're running out of the essentials. You know, would you be willing to do this? So at this point, we stop in the story. I always have tons of questions about blizzards. I asked them to turn and talk with their partners a second time. Now that we've read the story, would they still want to be in a blizzard? So once that finishes and we share out again, I say, okay, now let's talk about the main idea of this story. So one of the main ideas to this story for me is how much snow can fall during a blizzard. And so I always have my smartboard up, and I would write my main idea on there, and then I would ask, does anyone else have a main idea? And usually my kids will come up with, well, he took care of his family, he took care of his neighbors, being a good person, being brave. And I was like, okay, these are all possible main ideas for this story. So what you're going to do now, and my kids, when they come in with their turn and partners, those are their partners that I've assigned them. I always tell them, you're going to go with your library partner, and I have what's essentially a blank sheet of paper that just says my main idea on it. And you are going to write some words, and you are going to draw a picture of what you and your partner think are the main idea. And I hand out the paper with a little packet of crayons, and they go. And that takes them only about 5 to 10 minutes. Because between the 2 or 3 main ideas I give them and the main ideas that they come up with, we've had some really great main ideas come out of this story. It doesn't take them long to figure it out, and because the book gives them so many visuals, and it's such a great picture book, to get ideas of what is going on with this family. And the boy has an Arctic survival guide that I always point out to the kids. that he reads throughout the beginning of the blizzard. It says Arctic survival, and he believes that he's the only one that knows how to survive in these elements, and that's why he needs to go get the stuff. So they come back with their pieces of paper, and then we go around the room and I write their main ideas up on the smartboard, and if we have similar main ideas, I always put check marks next to it so I don't have to write it multiple times. And we've had the children will come back to me with reading. You need to read in order to know how to survive in a blizzard. Or a lot of times children agree with my 3 that I always give them, you know, taking care of your family, taking care of the people in your community, and especially because my kids come from the urban centers, that is seems to be a main idea that resonates with them. So at the end of this, I save the file for the class because when we study main idea, we will do this with multiple books, and we'll start to see that main ideas can sometimes be similar. And that is my lesson for Blizzard by John Rocco. If we end early, or if we want to continue the learning, we also use Big Snow by Jonathan Bean for this particular unit. It's another one. It's a different story about a big snowstorm that happens, told from a little boy's point of view. And the reason I like this one is that this book starts out kind of how it is right now, no snow in the neighborhood, and by the end of the story, the neighborhood's covered, and you slowly see that progression. And the little boy's imagination is out of control in the house. He uses the flour while they're baking cookies to pretend about the snow, and he uses the soap suds in the bathroom, and et cetera, et cetera. And my younger ones in particular really like this one. But I'll use this one a lot for pre-K and kindergarten. But for 1st and 2nd grade, I'll continue Blizzard through Big Snow about main ideas and what is the main idea behind this book, just because they're so similar with the big snows, and very similar type of writing too, and it focuses on a young boy, which the boys in my class in particular like, because a lot of the literature I tend to read tends to be girls because I'm a girl. So and that is all. Thank you.